Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user former Western 1441. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to get over being cheated on by her husband after she laughed at me and told me to get over my breakup? I'm a 25-year-old with a 28-year-old sister and 20-year-old brother. I'm fairly close to both of them, but my sister and I grew up fighting a lot because she has a superiority complex and is quite entitled. She's not super in your face about it, but after enough times, you'll start to notice it. My sister's also married with a 3-year-old girl, for context. Anyway, I had a boyfriend and we've been dating since we were 19. Just a few weeks ago, he decided that he wasn't in love with me anymore and wanted to leave. I felt super crappy about it for a while and would cry over it sometimes. It didn't help that it happened around my mom's 60th birthday, so emotions hit me in the middle of us celebrating. My sister discreetly rolled her eyes and giggled when that happened. Also, told me to stop killing the mood with my stupid crying and to get over it because he was just some boy. I walked away and let her be that way because all I was trying to focus on was calming myself down. Her words didn't help though. We had a big family reunion or birthday celebration for my brother last weekend. I was having tons of fun drinking and catching up with a few of my cousins who came all the way from Europe. It was chill until my sister stormed past us holding her daughter and looking red as hell in the face with angry tears. That's when it turned to utter crap. Yelling, crying, and just straight up craziness. My sister found out her husband was sleeping with a random coworker and then everything just spiraled. This went on for so long, which gave me a damn headache, and in the middle of my sister screaming at him once again, I turned to her and yelled, "Maybe you should get over it and stop killing the mood with your stupid crying." She then called me a bunch of names I cannot say here, but then later on after, she made her not so little exit. I got all the flack. My mom and dad got on my ass for worsening the fight and for not letting go of the past. The night was effing ruined. I woke up the next day to a long text from my sister saying how much I embarrassed her and made her feel worse because now her child won't get to see her father so often, plus a whole bunch of other crap. I left it on scene and started to think I actually did go a bit overboard and my parents and brother were practically begging us to make peace. I texted a long apology to my sister later into the day, but she just read it and still hasn't responded. We still haven't spoken. Am I the a-hole or was it fair to be a bit bitchy? Well, OP, it kinda sounds like you both suck at each other. Sure, you've got your sister that apparently is one of these people that think is always right and has the right to just comment on anything, but still, what she did was a crappy thing, and what you did back to her was also a crappy thing. And honestly, the only person I feel bad in this whole mess of a situation that you guys have going on is her daughter, 3-year-old girl. Everybody else sucks, but she's the only victim here. So now that we've acknowledged and established that, my question is, do you want to have a relationship with her? Because it doesn't sound like you do. And if you don't, then don't chase her. You already apologized, let's say, quote unquote. I don't know what the text was like. And she read it, and leave it at that. Again, don't chase her. If she wants to start talking to you again, fine. But if you don't want to have a relationship with her, then you can just move on. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's check out the community comments. Jonty says, I'm blaming your parents. They should teach their kids how to behave and not be selfish at any chance they get. That goes for you and your sister. Particular Pay 3831 says, everybody sucks. Yes, breakups hurt, but my lady, thank God that you were not legally hitched to him with no kids. Otherwise, it would have been a crap show of extreme proportions. Now imagine the plight of your sister. She has a kid in all this mess. I recommend just clearing the air and supporting your sister. Leftover Butterbeer says, yes, the a-hole. To be fair, she was an a-hole first, and I get it. Heartbreak in any form is the absolute worst. But did you say that to her because you meant it, or because you were retaliating for what she said to you earlier? Not to discredit how you felt during your breakup, but I would much rather be broken up with than cheated on. And they were married with kids? That's destroying a whole family. Again, not discrediting how bad your breakup was, but what you did, and it sounds like she had just found out, was a total a-hole move in my opinion. And Dopey responds, Truthfully, I said it to her in retaliation, which, yes, I now realize was immature. I'm obviously not impressed with him cheating. Denizen K says, everybody sucks here. She shouldn't have talked to you like that after suffering the breakup of a 6-year relationship. But you, knowing how hearing something like that felt, decided to give her comeuppance. When her relationship didn't just end, her family was torn apart and she was betrayed in one of the worst ways a person can be betrayed. That's worse than awful. Hope your high and mighty feeling lasts from your knee-jerk response, cause that's some next level petty crappiness. I can sort of see why men are running from the women in your family, cause y'all suck ass. Opie's edit. I wasn't super clear in that paragraph. My sister didn't privately said what she said to me. I felt off halfway into celebrating, and when everyone else asked if I was okay, she started acting the way she did. I then walked away. Well, the community agrees that OP sucks and her sister sucks too. Now, OP has given us 2 updates to this story, so let's move on with the first one to see what happened next. I appreciate all the feedback I got in my original post. For the most part, it seems most people think I'm the a-hole regardless of my sister being awful, which is fair honestly. We ended up having a conversation which I don't even know how to navigate this because it felt like pulling teeth trying to get her to say sorry and understand that she hurt me in the beginning. She never apologized to me before the whole thing at the gathering. I called my sister on the phone today. I didn't assume she would pick up the phone, but I was super grateful she did. I asked her how she was doing and she was understandably still very upset. Like, she genuinely sounded sad. I apologized for the situation and told her she didn't deserve to be cheated on. A whole lot was said basically, and shockingly, she let me ramble on and on. I said sorry for humiliating her and explained why I did that. I told her I wanted us to just have a normal relationship for once without all the fighting. My sister didn't apologize, but she just said that she didn't respond to my messages because she felt humiliated and hurt, not because she was angry at me. She started crying a bit and told me that I'll never understand her position and I wouldn't have liked it if it were the other way around. I told her I understood, but in that moment I remembered the hurtful things she said and how she wasn't there to support me but to mock me. Regardless, that still gave me no right to be an ass, and I said that more than once. I also told her I never got an apology for the things she said. All she said was, "Yeah, well, are you sure you don't just hate me or something?" I told her I didn't hate her, but she could be awful quite often. In fact, I thought she hated me. This conversation didn't really go anywhere overall. She eventually ended up apologizing and then got snarky with me again when I asked her if she truly meant it, because from the way she said it, it was more like, "I'm saying sorry because you won't shut up about me not saying sorry," rather than "I'm saying sorry because what I said was wrong and totally inappropriate." I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, I thought we both would have had enough time to clear our heads a bit and be able to have a good conversation. I got frustrated and told her something along the lines of, "I get our relationships weren't on the same level and I came out more of an a-hole, but I think you only care about how you feel right now." She told me she felt like the conversation wasn't going anywhere and preferred we'd stop talking for a bit. I accepted that, wished her and my niece well, and that was it. Not gonna force it. One of my cousins texted me like an hour later to check on me and to tell me she deserved it, so not to worry. They don't get along and didn't interact at all at the reunion. I just wanted to be done with it all. It is what it is, honestly, and it was probably bound to happen, but damn, I had some hope. Oh well, thanks again for your honest feedback though. OP's edit. I'm not responding to anybody, but obviously, you guys are entitled to your own opinions. I get her situation, and she didn't deserve it, but it wouldn't have killed her to apologize. She had weeks to, lol. And now let's move on to the final update to see how this story ends. There's a good chance this might just end up being the last update, but knowing my family, it very well might not be. Things have gotten wild since yesterday when I posted my first update. I'm not even sure what happened since, but all of a sudden, I'm scrolling through social media and my cousin's at my sister's throat. I'm talking paragraphs crap-talking my sister on her story, calling her degrading names, a trashy mother, and that she's glad her husband cheated, even going as far as asking to fight. In update 1, I mentioned that my sister and cousin don't get along and never interacted at the reunion. Some stupid dispute they had years ago, and it's affected their relationship heavily. Not only that, but I'm now blocked by my sister. Anyway, I replied asking what in sweet Jesus' name happened and where that was all coming from, and I'm still not even 100% sure what happened, but I think someone in the family instigated it by telling my cousin what my sister was saying about her. I'm assuming I wasn't the only person she told about my sister deserving my response, so when I talked to my brother on the phone and I told him she blocked me, he told me, yeah, because she felt like you didn't actually care. Which is very rich coming from her, I said. Anyway, I found out a lot. To sum it all up, basically, I found out that my sister was perfectly fine with no longer speaking to me, and my relationship with my niece is on the line because apparently I'm a bitter fake bitch. Now, half the family is arguing and has opinions. Also, my parents are begging my sister to make peace with me. Then my sister insulted my cousin or something, and my cousin went off as well. Honestly, with all this, I regret even apologizing. My aunt is calling my mom and asking her to get her child, and now my mom's trying to defend my sister and my aunt's defending my cousin. So now it's a stupid battle between the sisters and cousins. My sister is also threatening to get the police on them, also according to my brother. I'm now being asked by my parents to cut off my cousin and aunt because they're foul-mouthed and other insults I'm not saying here. A good amount of this is happening on social media and through messages. My cousin from Europe was texting me and asking if I was involved in the craziness as well, but truthfully, I'm just the one hearing from people. I can't tell if I started this to begin with or if it was gonna happen anyway, but I told my brother, cousin, and parents that I'm staying the hell out of this because everyone's crazy. I'm genuinely shocked the reunion even went as well as it did before it got catastrophic. I'm probably just gonna sit back and let this thing unfold. It's too much. Still, I'm willing to bet money that I'm going to be dragged into this mess sooner or later, or it's gonna get even crazier. I effing hope not, but I also don't care as long as nobody's involving me. Willoughby, I don't know if you started it. Maybe it started with your sister and your cousin and whatever petty squabble they have from the past, but I think unknowingly you lit the petty fuse and it just went on from there. Still, I agree with you. The smarter choice is just to stay away. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user TBZ3N. Am I the a-hole for wanting to move out despite my parents' problems at home? I'm a 22-year-old guy in the UK with Indian parents. I was raised in the UK and there weren't many other Indian people in my area, so I've always clashed a bit with my parents over cultural things like going out, relationships, and independence. They aren't abusive or evil, but they are traditionally controlling. For example, last year my mom found out I had a white girlfriend and completely blew up, threatening to cut me out of the family. We didn't speak for months because every time I tried to talk calmly, she would shout and lose her temper. This is common for her. I have recommended therapy in the past, which she refuses. For context, my parents own a shop. My dad has slowly become an alcoholic over the last 10 years. I've had to break up arguments for years, and over the last few years, I've emotionally checked out because it's exhausting. I've tried to help him many times, but he's never really changed. I still step in when things get bad because I hate conflict in the house. I didn't go to university, but I've landed a well-paid job. I can finally afford the dream I've had since I was a teenager, moving to a flat or an apartment in a big city nearby with a friend and living independently in my 20s. We found places and I'm excited. It's only a 40 to 50 minute drive away. When I cautiously brought this up, my mom exploded. She said I'm betraying her, abandoning the family, and leaving her alone with my dad and the shop. In her eyes, this is worse because culturally, sons are expected to live with their parents long term. I've always said that wasn't what I want. I said this would be only for a couple of years and then I'd rent the flat out as an investment. I've helped a lot with the shop and my dad over the years, but I'm drained by the constant tension and shouting. I'm very non-confrontational and it's caused me my first panic attacks. My two older sisters never pushed back like I have, so I get the most resistance about independence from my parents. I feel guilty, but I also feel like I'm an adult who deserves to live his own life after working hard. I struggle to see why they aren't happy for me like my friend's parents are for him. Am I the a-hole for wanting to move out? Well, in my opinion, no, OP. You're not the a-hole for wanting to move out. You're not the a-hole for wanting to live your life in your own terms. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, all good. Now, I've no idea about what culture your parents come from, but apparently kids needs to stay home until they're adults. But luckily for you, you're not obligated to do it, and you are free to do what you want. Of course, I would expect a lot of guilt tripping, but I would think eventually they'd come around, and if they don't, then you need to make a choice. Do you want to live your life, or do you want your parents' relationship to be your life? And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Trevina Ice says, not the a-hole. Your parents choose to move to the UK and raise you there. They shouldn't be surprised that you learned the social traditions instead of their own home culture. You have your own life and you want to live it, so do it. In the UK, there are other supports than the oldest son and their daughter-in-law someday. And if your mom is unhappy in her marriage, there is a simple way out. Divorce. You are not there to be their punching bag. Technical Next 7407 says, not the a-hole. Move out. Your mom is trying to guilt trip you with tradition. Living at home until you are married may work in India, but you are in the UK. I once heard tradition described as pressure from dead people. You are not responsible for your father or his shop. He is an adult. Your mother is an adult. They can handle their own lives. I wouldn't even promise them that you'll move back someday. Just move and see where life takes you. Be prepared for tears, guilt trips, and threats from your parents. Don't let them get to you. And Technical Habit 5114 says, not the a-hole. Your parents moved here with their culture and tradition intact. You have never lived in a country like that. You had culture and tradition at home, but most of your life is outside your parents' home. You have a right to live your own life in a manner that is for you. Just bear in mind, tradition and culture aside, there will come a point when elders need some assistance. The community agrees OP is not the a-hole and that he should live his life. So now let's move on to the update to see how this ends. Thank you for the advice. I didn't realize how cut and dry this was. After living with my family for years, I'm able to see it from their perspective and through a certain cultural lens a lot more. So it was nice to see that despite the problems at home, people were very supportive of me wanting to move out. I spoke to my mom again yesterday, and while I didn't mention the post here, I was a lot more firm on wanting to live my life in a way that makes me happy. It was an emotional long conversation, but she came around in a way that I didn't think she would, to be honest. She agreed that it is only right that I am able to enjoy my life and get free of the constant unease and tension that's in the house. She voiced her fears about being left alone with an alcoholic husband and not being confident enough in English to be able to run a shop herself and make new friends or connections. But we discussed it, and while I can tell the worry is still there, which is natural, we are on the same page. We spoke about me buying a flat and how we'd go about it, and it really is happening, and I'm much happier that I have her support. I think the last few years of my dad being an alcoholic and not being caring towards my mom have really changed her perspective on certain things, and she's more so glad that I'm confidently building a life that makes me happy. Seems like one more honest, open conversation was all that she needed. It's difficult to approach those with stricter parents who are raised differently when it comes to expressing emotions, but the support here and from my friends really did help push me towards not wasting any more time and beginning to live my life on my own terms. Thanks. Well, OP, I'm glad now you have your mom's support. Not that you needed it, but of course it's always a good thing. Now you get to live your life on your own terms. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user NervousTranslator76. My new downstairs neighbor made the manager harass me. I hope he likes being woken up at 2 a.m. every night. I've lived in the same apartment with my boyfriend for almost 4 years. It's not the best apartment, but I love the location. I've never really had any problems here. I'm a quiet neighbor that stays to myself. My new downstairs neighbor has made several stupid complaints, like complaints me running my garbage disposal, but the most recent one was ridiculous. He went and told management that there's been issues with my balcony. I got a call last week asking if I've been throwing anything over my balcony. I told the manager absolutely not. There's plants down below, so I had dumped a water bottle off into the plants before, but that's not harming anyone. Because of this call, I went out to my balcony to investigate. I noticed my flower vase had fallen over and some water may have spilled down. Not too big of a deal. There wasn't too much water in the vase when the wind knocked it over. I think this is the end of that silly complaint, but I was wrong. The weekend passes and I get a nasty notice on my door. The notice said pet violation for not picking up after my dog, $50 fine, and stating I'm at risk of getting my lease terminated because of my violations. The only problem is I don't have a dog. I emailed the property manager and said I do not have a dog. Therefore, I'm not paying this fine. She sends back a ridiculous email stating that she's received several complaints. I only have one downstairs neighbor about urine coming from my balcony. So she assumed I was letting my dog, that I don't have, pee on my balcony. Then she says, I don't have a dog. That means me or my boyfriend are peeing on our balcony. And then I'm still in violation of my lease. This was just comical at this point. My boyfriend and I have never done this. We've never had any complaints in our 4 years here. It just so happens, as soon as I got a new downstairs neighbor, the complaints came rolling in. Here's where the petty revenge kicks in. I work night shifts, so I don't go to bed until around 6 a.m. Every morning around